You ever get a raise, feel that awesome rush of excitement, and then a month later, you're somehow just as broke as you were before? Yeah, it's a super common, super frustrating feeling. Today, we are going to dive into the hidden financial traps that are basically designed to keep people spinning their wheels. And we'll start with one simple question.
I mean, that's the big question, right? You're working harder, you're earning more, but that feeling of actually getting ahead, of financial freedom, it always seems just out of reach. But here's the thing, this usually isn't some personal failure. It's a series of subtle, almost invisible systems that are working against you.
So we're going to break these traps down into 4 main parts. We'll kick things off with the income illusion, then we'll get into the endless debt cycle, uncover those sneaky, invisible financial drains, and wrap it up with the most powerful trap of all, the mindset traps.
Okay, so let's jump into our first section. It's all about a weird paradox of modern life, the income illusion. This is where getting a bigger paycheck gives you this false sense of security, and it completely hides the fact that you're not actually building any real wealth.
The first, and honestly the most common trap, is something called lifestyle creep, and it's so sneaky. It starts small. You get a promotion, so you think, hey, I can afford a nicer apartment. You start eating out a bit more. Each little upgrade feels earned, like a reward. But before you even realize it, your lifestyle has quietly expanded to swallow every single new dollar you make, and poof, the gap between what you earn and what you save is gone.
And that quote just nails it, doesn't it? This isn't about being wasteful. It's just that your new normal costs more. But the key thing is, you never actually get ahead. You learn how to be broke on a bigger, more impressive salary.
And a huge piece of this illusion is becoming house poor. This is where you own the address, but the address totally owns you. The bank tells you that you qualify for this massive loan, and you take it as a green light. But then, reality hits. Property taxes, insurance, the water heater that decides to die in the middle of winter, and suddenly you're just working to keep the lights on in your own home.
And this is a super important point. The bank, they're a business. They make money by giving you the biggest loan they possibly can. They are not your financial advisor, and you can end up completely trapped. Can't save, can't travel, can't really live, all because you're tied to this building that was supposed to be about freedom.
And that feeling of being trapped, well, that leads us right into our second big area, the endless debt cycle. We're talking about financial products and habits that aren't just about one purchase. Nope, they are literally designed to keep you paying forever.
A classic example is the car payment treadmill. You know the sales pitch? It's so tempting. Hey, get a newer, better car for a lower monthly payment. It sounds amazing, but what's really happening is that the dealership is just rolling the debt from your old car into the new loan and stretching the whole thing out longer, sometimes like 7 years.
So let's break down how this crazy cycle actually works. You're always upside down, which means you owe more on the car than it's even worth. You keep chasing that lower payment instead of actually owning the car. You're basically renting your car forever on the worst possible terms, while someone who just bought a car and kept it has been driving payment-free for years.
Okay, next up is the minimum payment illusion. And man, credit card companies, they are absolute masters of psychology. They show you this tiny manageable minimum payment, and your brain just goes, phew, okay, I can handle that. You think you're on top of it, but you're actually just feeding a monster. Most of that tiny payment, it goes straight to interest, barely even scratching the actual amount you owe.
Get this, on just a $3,000 debt, if you only make the minimum payments, you could end up paying back almost $6,000, and it could take you over a decade. That minimum payment isn't there to help you, it's there to keep you in their system, paying them for as long as possible.
And then there's the whole life insurance trap. It gets sold as this smart combo of insurance and savings, but when you actually compare it to the alternative, which is just buying cheap term life insurance and investing the money you save on premiums, the difference is, it's staggering. We're talking lower fees, way higher growth, and you actually get to keep your investment money. It's a single switch that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime.
All right, so we've talked about the big illusions and the crazy debt cycles. Now let's get into something a little sneakier, the invisible drains. This is like financial death by 1,000 cuts, where these small, harmless-seeming daily choices add up to one massive leak in your bank account.
This is the trap of paying for convenience. I'm talking about that $7 delivery fee because you're tired. It's the dozen streaming services you barely even watch. It's that express shipping because waiting 2 days just feels impossible.
Each one is a small transaction, but the real danger isn't in one choice, it's in the repetition, when paying for convenience just becomes your default setting.
And when you add it all up, the cost is it's staggering. For a lot of people, these little conveniences drain $4, $5, even $6,000 a year from their income. That's money that could have wiped out a credit card, maxed out a retirement account, or paid for an actual vacation, not just another takeout meal.
Okay, another huge one, the brand loyalty tax. We pay double for a name brand cereal when the store brand right next to it is literally made in the same factory with the same ingredients. You're not paying for better quality, you're just paying for their marketing budget, which they used to convince you their product was worth paying more for in the first place.
Now, this next one. It's a little counterintuitive, but stick with me. The side hustle trap. I mean, working a second job feels so productive, right? But a lot of the time, it's just a way to avoid dealing with the real problem. Instead of cutting back on your expenses, you just work yourself to the bone to fund a lifestyle your main job can't support. You're treating the symptom, a lack of money, instead of curing the disease, which is overspending.
All right, this brings us to our last and honestly, probably the most important section, the mindset traps. These are the internal beliefs, the psychology, the emotional stuff that really drives all the other financial mistakes we make.
Man, there are so many of these, but let's hit 3 big ones. First, keeping up appearances, where you go into debt to project this image of success to people who are way too busy worrying about their own image to even notice yours. Second, retail therapy, where you shop to feel better, which creates more debt, which then makes you feel worse. And third, the emergency-free delusion, this dangerous belief that for some reason, a flat tire or a surprise medical bill will just never happen to you.
And maybe the biggest mindset trap of all is what I call the retirement delay. We all tell ourselves, oh, I'll start saving later when I earn more. But the brutal math of compound interest shows why this is so dangerous. A small amount of money invested when you're young just demolishes a much larger amount invested later. Time is the most powerful ingredient you have, and every single year you wait, you are burning your most valuable asset.
So what's the big takeaway here? What's the common thread? It's that these traps aren't just a series of random mistakes. They are all connected. They're systems designed to tap into our most basic human desires, our desire for comfort, for social status, for things to be easy. They work because they prey on the mental shortcuts our brains just love to take.
Just recognizing these patterns, that's the first and most powerful step you can take to escape them. So the real question isn't about shame or blame, it's about awareness. Now that you can see the architecture of these traps, which ones might you be living in, and what's your first step to getting out?